When the hustle and bustle fades away in the dead of night, and you gaze at the shifting shadows outside the window, do you ever feel a lingering emptiness, as if you are but a drifting leaf, powerless against the raging storm? Amid the turbulent Sengoku era, a cruel age woven from blood, betrayal and lust for power, lived a noble lady whose life became an eternal legend. She never craved fame or glory, yet fate cast her straight into the eye of the fiercest political tempest. To the world, she was a peerless beauty, the beloved daughter of Akechi Mitsuhide and the cherished wife of the renowned General Hosokawa Tadaoki. But behind closed doors, she endured years of confinement in a remote mountain residence, leading a life of quiet spiritual discipline. Tonight, by the glow of the flickering fire, let us explore her true story. This is Hosokawa Tamako, a woman who defended her dignity and purity with her final resolve. Her tale is one of endurance, spiritual cultivation and defiance against destiny. People know how her world crumbled after the Honnōji incident, turning her into the daughter of a traitor. They also remember her heroic choice before the fall of Osaka Castle, choosing death over captivity and ordering her retainer to end her life. Few truly understand, however, that this woman who experienced betrayal and embraced new faith was in essence a quiet, introverted soul dwelling in solitude. Now relax your body and steady your breath. Let us travel back to that fateful moment when fate broke apart and a silent storm drew near. It was the year 1582. Humid and heavy air hung over Kyoto in June. Thick black smoke billowed from Honnōji Temple, blotting out the stars, while the crackle of muskets and the clash of spears echoed across the city. That night, 20-year-old Hosokawa Tamako sat alone deep inside the Hosokawa mansion. Flames dyed the sky an eerie crimson, yet her expression remained calm and composed, revealing no trace of emotion. Just hours earlier, her father Akechi Mitsuhide had assassinated Oda Nobunaga, the unifier of Japan. This earth-shaking act dragged her from a life of bliss to the abyss of ruin overnight. In the lawless Sengoku period, marked by constant warfare and brutal competition, any relative of a traitor faced ruthless persecution. Disaster soon followed. 3 days later, news arrived of her father's death in battle. The entire Hosokawa clan was gripped by terror under immense political pressure. Retainers knelt in the courtyard, urging their lord Hosokawa Tadaoki to behead Tamako as a gesture of loyalty to the new rulers. Crushed by the loss of her father, the insult to her noble status and the constant threat of execution, Tamako endured all alone. Shut behind closed doors, she listened to the scrape of spears outside, trapped in an agonizing inner struggle. Fate presented her with a cruel choice, to die as a political sacrifice, or to seek spiritual freedom amid suffering. Staring at her reflection in the mirror, gaunt from prolonged stress yet still graceful, she neatly folded her pure white kimono. She did not weep, nor did she beg her husband for mercy. With gentle yet unyielding resolve, she accepted whatever lay ahead. She knew her worldly identity was gone forever, and she would spend the long years ahead building an inner fortress that no power could ever conquer. Tamako was spared the blade, only to be exiled to a remote mountain house for years of complete isolation. Struggling to protect his wife while appeasing the public, Hosokawa Tadaoki made a painful compromise. On a snowy night, he sent trusted men to escort her secretly to Midono residence, hidden deep in the mountains of Tango province. It was a desolate wilderness where even birds rarely ventured. In winter, heavy snow sealed off the dwelling, and the silence was so profound that one could hear snowflakes landing on dry branches. Gossip spread malicious rumors about her, claiming she had been abandoned and died of sorrow in the valley. Yet this forced seclusion turned out to be a turning point, a profound spiritual journey for Tamako. Away from the splendor of noble life, she cast off her elaborate silk robes and dressed in simple plain cotton garments. She devoted herself entirely to exploring her inner self. On countless rainy nights lit only by a dim oil lamp, she came into contact with new philosophical and religious ideas brought to Japan by Western missionaries. In an era where men held absolute power and women were treated as tools for marriage and reproduction, these foreign teachings about equal souls and suffering as spiritual practice were like a ray of light piercing the darkness, washing away her grievances and confusion. In secret, far from her suspicious and violent husband, she underwent a profound spiritual transformation and embraced a new faith. As she wrote down verses of forgiveness, peace and salvation on clean paper, even the howling wind outside seemed to soften. She never yielded to loneliness, but gained ultimate sovereignty over her soul through quiet perseverance. When political tensions eased years later, Tamako was allowed to return to the Hosokawa mansion in Osaka. Misunderstandings about her only grew. She shunned social gatherings for noble ladies, leading many politicians to label her a bitter, reclusive woman who harbored hatred for the clan. Her jealous and distrustful husband kept her under constant surveillance, and they quarreled violently late into the night over her occasional correspondence with missionaries. In truth, Tamako's heart was as serene and clear as still water. She treated her maids with kindness, faced her furious husband with gentle smiles, and looked upon the turbulent world with compassion. The contrast between her tranquil spirit and the bloody, scheming world around her formed a poignant paradox of her life. Having transcended the fear of life and death through years of solitude, she had found her true spiritual home. While warlords fought relentlessly for power and territory, Tamako stood firm in her beliefs. She refused to become a pawn in political alliances, and would not pretend affection to satisfy her husband's vanity. With strict self-discipline, she resisted the hypocrisy and vanity of the noble circle. People mistook her reserve for coldness, but only those who truly understood her knew that such enduring peace amid a harsh political life could only come from deep and sincere compassion for all living things. In the summer of 1600, the atmosphere in Osaka grew tense as the decisive battle of Sekigahara drew near. To force Hosokawa Tadaoki to retreat, Ishida Mitsunari surrounded the Hosokawa mansion with thousands of armed soldiers. An ultimatum was delivered: Tamako must surrender as a hostage within 2 hours, or every inhabitant of the mansion would be slain. Panic spread among the maids and retainers, and all pressure fell upon Tamako. To surrender meant dooming her husband and clan, to resist meant a brutal massacre. At the age of 38, Tamako stood on the corridor and made a decision that stunned the entire realm. Her faith forbade suicide, so she gathered her loyal retainers and spoke calmly and firmly. "Let all women and innocent people escape through the side gate. Then, strike me down with your sword." With tears in their eyes, her retainers knelt before her. Tamako returned to her quiet room lit by a dim lamp, facing west with calm composure. As the loyal retainer's sword pierced her body, explosives she had prepared ignited instantly. Flames engulfed the mansion, along with her mortal form and all the political intrigue surrounding her. Her noble death was the ultimate triumph of her life. She bowed to no tyrant and refused to be reduced to a tool of the times. With her pure and unyielding spirit, she shattered the cruel oppression imposed on women in the Sengoku period. As night falls and city lights fade, time settles over the modern world. Looking back on Tamako's life, we may find the answer to the question of betrayal and dignity raised at the beginning. What legacy did this misunderstood and mythologized noble lady leave behind after centuries? Was it the old scrolls preserved in museums, or the fearless integrity she showed amid flames? Her greatest gift to the world is the grace to remain disciplined and peaceful, even after witnessing the cruelty of power and life. On this quiet night by the faint fire, when we recall her figure, upright and elegant, spending a lifetime seeking light amid confinement and loneliness, anxiety about fate fades into lasting peace. Through 38 years of solitude and hardship, she bore the inevitable loss and oblivion of life for us. She teaches us to face difficulties with grace and dignity. The spirit of that unending summer lingers on, finding its place in every heart. As long as you keep your inner purity and perseverance in the darkest hours, you will never be defeated by the world. Night has fallen completely, and the city lies in deep slumber. After hearing Tamako's story, may you relax your tired mind and body in warm bedding. Let go of worries about tomorrow and past regrets, and may they turn into gentle dreams. Close your eyes, and drift into peaceful sleep as the last glow fades away. Good night.